Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. This is Athena from Courage Coaching. If you are new here, then please click on the subscribe button in order to receive notifications for any new videos that I upload. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about how to grieve a parent who is still alive. And when I talk about this sort of grief, I am particularly talking about parents who were too emotionally immature or narcissistic and weren't able to meet our emotional needs in childhood. They may have been neglectful, they may have been abusive, they may have hurt us in ways that we can't ignore anymore. And for that reason, it's important to start the healing journey in order to allow ourselves to grieve the relationship that we wish we had had with our parents. Now, when a parent is emotionally immature or narcissistic, they are not able to be accountable for the hurt or the neglect that they have put us through. We may have tried time and time again to get through to them. We may have explained ourselves over and over again. We may have tried to achieve more, do more, anything that we could think of in order for them to finally see us, to finally validate us, to accept us and love us unconditionally. But the more we did this, the more we noticed that nothing would ever change. Every time we explained to our parent that they hurt us, that they weren't there for us, that they were abusive, that they were neglectful, we don't ever get an answer that makes us feel better. They never truly apologize for the harm that they've caused because they are too emotionally immature to even comprehend what we are saying to them. Some parents do understand what we're saying, but they are not willing to change. They are not willing to look at themselves. They would rather put the blame on us than taking responsibility for their actions. So, of course, when this happens time and time again, and we are constantly hurt by their behavior and nothing is changing, when we see that as much as we are hoping they will change, this never happens, well, eventually we get to the point where we can't do this sort of relationship anymore. It gets to a point where the toxicity that we are experiencing is just too much. So, of course, when we reach this point, and we want to heal ourselves, the first step to this is to acknowledge the fact that our parents are never going to change and to allow ourselves to grieve our parent even if they are still alive. And we are never taught how to grieve a parent that's still alive. We never could have known that this is even a thing, that this is even something that we would be dealing with. We never could have known that our parent was emotionally immature or personality disordered. But here we are now dealing with this. We are in a point in our lives where we have to deal with this, where our eyes have opened and there's no going back to the old relationship that we had with them. And this can be very destabilizing, very painful, and very difficult. But grieving this relationship is extremely important in helping yourself on that healing journey, in helping yourself feel like you are worth it, that your life is important, that you are not going to waste any more time trying to get through to a parent who just doesn't get it. It's important to acknowledge that at first we may feel this intense feeling of defeat because we haven't been able to get through to our parents, especially when we have spent a lifetime trying to make this relationship work, trying to get them to understand, with nothing, of course, changing. So feeling defeat is very normal. Feeling anger, feeling frustration, feeling sadness is completely normal in this case. You may also have moments where you feel selfish for considering to do this. Well, we are hardwired to love our parents. We are hardwired to believe that family is everything. So when we decide to walk away from this relationship or to create boundaries or distance in this relationship, we will feel selfish. We will feel guilty. But we've got to be really careful that the guilt doesn't consume us, because the parents that are emotionally immature or toxic will use that guilt against us in order to control us. They may be aware that they're doing this, they may not. It really depends on the type of parent you have. The guilt will be there, but you have to push it aside in order to allow yourself to grieve. When a parent has been physically present in a life but emotionally absent, the grief that we feel is real. We didn't get our emotional needs met, and this is a huge loss. It's important to grieve all of the different losses that are part of this sort of relationship. You will need to grieve the loss of safety that you felt, the loss of connection that you felt. There was a loss of wanting to be seen and heard. There's a loss of wanting to be cared for. There's a loss of wanting to be supported. You weren't able to have any of these needs met, and that is a real loss. There is grief in that. But it's also important to grieve all the different versions of you that were part of this dysfunctional family unit. In order for you to survive in a family where there was a lot of dysfunction, then you may have taken on all of these different versions of yourself, all of these different roles, such as caretaker or fixer, or the overachiever or the strong one. You may have been the one that always told all these jokes in order to make your parents happy and keep the mood light. You may have always been the one that took the blame. You may have always been the one that had to be perfect all the time. You may have been the scapegoat or the black sheep in your family. You may have been the peacemaker in your family. All of these different versions of you need to be grieved, because as much as they helped you survive your childhood, they are no longer important in your life. You now have the right to be the person that was really meant to be present. And that is something that will take time to uncover, but it's very important to get to that place. The problem is that the old version of you is the version of you that may still be keeping you stuck to your parents. It may still be keeping you stuck in this family dynamic because this old version of you is still hoping that your parents are going to change, but they are not. And in order to heal, you don't need your parents' participation to do this. You may want to desperately get them to understand, but they will not understand. They will not change. They have shown you this time and time again. You may be thinking, well, what if I explained it to them better? Or what if I did more? Or what if I did enough? But the problem is, it was never about you. You were never the issue in your family. You were never the problem. It was your parents' inability to truly be emotionally present. They were too emotionally immature to understand how to parent properly. So even though you may have internalized the fact that it was your fault, that there was something wrong with you, that you weren't good enough, because that's why your parents didn't love you and weren't there for you, it was never about you. It was never your fault. It has everything to do with your parents' limitations. So that is why the more fully you process this loss, the quicker you will create the space that you need in order to start healing. It will take a lot of time for you to untangle yourself from these old versions of yourself whilst you work on building the new version of you. The new version of you is going to be the healthier you, and that is what you are hoping for and striving for. Whenever your parents try and suck you back in, whenever your parents try and guilt trip you, whenever they try and gaslight you, no matter what they say to you, you always need to remind yourself that you are only responsible for your emotions, not your parents' emotions. And repeat this to yourself as often as you can. And if that guilt is there, okay, acknowledge it, but just know that you come first and your peace is not negotiable. You are not going to give up the peace that you deserve. You need to be your authentic self, and maybe the only way of doing that is to create distance with your parents, or to even go no contact with your parents. Or, if you can't go no contact, to at least have strong boundaries. And also because it's important to understand that this healing journey is not easy. It is going to feel really difficult. It is going to feel uncomfortable. You are stepping out of your comfort zone. You are doing something that's new. You are going to feel isolated at first. You are going to feel alone in this journey unless you can find other people around you that are experiencing the same sort of thing. On this channel, and as well as many other communities and channels online that talk about this, you will find support from other survivors of dysfunctional family dynamics, because the people that want to get better, the people that want to improve their lives, will do the work. They will start the healing. They will allow the grief process to be a part of their healing. Even in moments where you don't feel very confident, where you don't feel that you can trust yourself, where your self-belief is compromised, remember that even though you feel alone, you are not alone. There are many other people on the same journey as you. You just need to find them online and share what you're going through, and you can support each other, and this is very important. So that is the end of the video today, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I hope you found this topic helpful. I know I've spoken about it before in previous videos, but I know how important it is. Please look after yourselves. Allow yourself the time you need to heal. Remember, you do not need your parents' participation or permission to heal and become the authentic version of you that you deserve to be. Take care, everyone, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.